All right, y'all. So listen, we back again with some more videos, man. But before we get to all that craziness, please help me to continue to unplug people out of the matrix, man. Shout outs to everybody who putting unplugged in the comment section. But we got to keep unplugging people out of the matrix, all right? And you do that by hitting that like button. Smash the like button and then put unplugged in the comment section, all right? Once you do that, and if you're new, go ahead and join us, man, by hitting that subscribe button and join the family, all right? Now let's get to the videos. Here we go.
Is this a rogue court?
This is not a normal court.
Should there be term limits for the justices, sir?
President Biden screaming at the sky over another Supreme Court ruling that didn't go his way. The top court dealing a blow to affirmative action after outlawing the use of race in college admissions. That means merit matters again, and the media is going to need a fainting couch.
The worst thing about affirmative action is that it created a Clarence Thomas.
Clarence Thomas, you know, he has criticized affirmative action, and we know that's one of the reasons why he's on the Supreme Court.
I think that this is tantamount to sticking a dagger in our back.
We will begin to see a kind of segregated higher education landscape.
We're going to see that segregation become wider and wider.
What's next? Gay marriage?
Is this leading to no women in colleges soon? Who knows?
No women in colleges. We can dream. I joke. And Biden wasn't done sobbing, running over to the safe space of MSNBC.
I find it just so out of sorts with the basic value system of the American people.
Do you worry that without court reform, this conservative majority is too young and too conservative, that they might do too much harm?
Well, I think they may do too much harm. I think that some of the court are beginning to realize their legitimacy is being questioned in ways that hadn't been questioned in the past.
He ended that interview the only way he knows how, by awkwardly shuffling off the set before they went to commercial. There he goes. Hey, wait a second. Come back. You left something. All right, Harold, I go to you for no particular reason at all. We haven't seen you. You were on vacation in Europe, a place called Europe. Must be nice. The decision seems to me is based on a simple idea. You can't fight racism with more racism. And I think that's what we kind of figured out over the last, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 decades. What say you, Mr. Ford Jr.?
So it's good to be back.
Thank you so much for saying that.
Congrats to the two of you on the news.
Or at least me.
Thank you.
I mean, let's face it, Jesse's will be short-lived.
Oh my God. He's already cursing it. This is a great segue to affirmative action. The affirmative action, I think, has always been an imperfect tool to try to redress, try to redress racism, the impact of race in the admissions process, to promote diversity. Today is an interesting day because the way we talk about this sometimes, it's almost like we forget that we brought affirmative action because, or we introduced affirmative action, the court did, and it was a University of California medical school decision, because race was a part of all of this. Now, I'm not as discouraged as some are. I look at some of the numbers. You have an absolute majority of Americans born after 2012 who are minority kids, who are young people of color. 45% of millennials are people of color. Almost 50% of Gen Zers are people of color. In fact, the geography and the demographics and racial composition of the country has almost surpassed the jurisprudence of the courts. Now, what I was most encouraged by, and I hope that those who are very critical of this decision, and I'm sorry it's something in my throat, I ate potato chips before coming on. For those who are discouraged, read the entire opinion. If you read what Roberts said, he said that universities can still consider an applicant's discussion of how race affected his or her life, be it through discrimination or inspiration. Family income, zip.
That's the part I was talking about. Like, it's not all the way, you know what I'm saying? And then, like I said the other day, man, you got to look at where we are as far as college is concerned right now, bro. It's bad. It's bad. Some things got to change, fam. Some things just got to change.
Discrimination or inspiration. family income, zip codes, all of these things will continue to be a part of how we look at this.
Good.
Race alone may not be the way we should look at this going forward. Income, how you were raised, where you were raised, the kind of experiences you had. I still hope universities are able to and colleges are able to do that, because I do think one thing that those who are being very critical of this decision are right about, if we don't find ways to continue to promote diversity and expand opportunity, you're going to see fewer doctors, fewer lawyers, fewer television producers, fewer authors, fewer professionals who might be African American or Hispanic. And that's what I hope we try to achieve. And again, the politics will be the politics, and people can say what they want to say about the court, and I have my own feelings about it. But I hope today is just a new beginning, and I hope that we try to reimagine and be more creative about how we promote diversity and how we try to advance opportunity for every American.
You know, Dana,
Yes.
Harold Ford Jr. makes some good points that times change. And I think that if you're a minority who gets a good education and stays out of trouble just like anybody else, they actually have more opportunities than they've ever had before. And to deny that is to deny your own achievements. And I saw this dissenting opinion where Justice Brown Jackson said that the elephant in the room is race-linked disparities, and they impede achievement. And it's like, at a certain point, that almost sounds racist.
I think people just hear the end of race-based college admissions and stuff like that, and they don't dive in and read and actually understand what's happening here. I think everybody just is so surface and so just into what they hear and ready to be for a cause that they forget to even read up on, which is a problem in college and schools right now. Nobody's reading the actual fine print or how could this better us. They're so quick to be on the offense about something and go at somebody. It's more about that than really, are you really concerned? That's what I start to look at people and say, are you really concerned? Are you really reading this? Because you're ready to jump out the window before we could even digest what was even ruled on. And number two, have an educated conversation about it.
So I like reading John Roberts' opinion and then reading both Clarence Thomas and Ketanji Brown Jackson, because there you have two African-American people who are on the court and they have strong disagreements about this. Thomas writes, racialism simply can't be undone by different or more racialism. We haven't mentioned yet, it was Asian American students who brought this case.
Yeah.
Because they felt they were being discriminated against. They weren't asking for specific numbers to be allowed in. They were asking for fairness. When a lot of things, well, so many things have changed. Sandra Day O'Connor in 2003, when she was a justice, she said, in 25 years, I imagine this is probably not going to be necessary anymore. Well, where are we now? It's 2023. And in 2005, when I was a spokesperson for Justice Roberts, in his confirmation hearings, this issue came up. And he has been working on this for a long time, and it took this case by these Asian American students to work its way up to a majority conservative court in order to get to this result. Yeah, I wonder if people who are critical of this decision can think about the principle that they're against. What is the constitutional principle you are against here? That's what the Supreme Court is supposed to do. Now, a lot of the schools have already figured out, and they're documenting it on TikTok and other places, about how they're going to circumvent what they expected in this ruling. So there will probably be questions about that. The last thing I would say about opportunity for people going to colleges, the best thing that we could possibly do is improve K through 12 education.
Amen. Yeah.
Because then you will actually be able to have people who are reading, writing, and doing math and science and history at grade level. And then.
Thank you. Did we not say that the other day, bro? Y'all so focused on the college, man. K through 12 needs so much attention. The curriculum needs to change. How we teach needs to change. The way we're so far behind.
Maybe you'll choose not to go to college because there's lots of different opportunities.
College is not the savior. It's what happens before.
I would love to see some kids maybe in impoverished situations, someone take up their case, bring a class action lawsuit like this one about K through 12 education so that we can improve that, so that everybody has a more equal chance to go to college.
Excellent point. You know, Jesse, according to 23andMe, I think you were under 1% African American. And we assume that's why you got the 8 p.m. gig and I didn't. And yet you see this as a positive Supreme Court decision while you have exploited the benefits of it. Explain your hypocrisy.
Well, minorities like me should acknowledge, and I'm just kidding, but I do think we should acknowledge that a lot of minorities in this country are heartbroken by this case. And they would acknowledge that they have achieved success through affirmative action and that they wouldn't have had opportunities had affirmative action not have been there. They will acknowledge that. So the fact that that's going away is a big blow to them. So I think we should acknowledge that. But what we should acknowledge is if this goes away, all the court is saying is that this is a legal matter that's constitutional. If society wants to change the academic success of African Americans, if African Americans want to boost their academic success through certain emphasis on certain things, there's no one stopping that. Right. And there's no one stopping white Americans, Hispanic Americans, all Americans for improving their own lives. It's just that the court has said, this is not our job. We will not endorse discrimination. It's against the 14th Amendment. You can't fight discrimination with discrimination. And Clarence Thomas said, race does not determine your value. He said it does not determine success. There are so many other things that go into success. And people have to realize where we are in life is the result of all the decisions we've made. Some of us start on third base. There are certain white Americans who are getting into these elite universities because their fathers went
Legacy.
there. Legacy admissions, athletic scholarships. There are people that do achieve that. But
when you argue that legacy should go away too, if affirmative action goes away, why not legacy?
It depends if Jesse's going to Trinity or not.
I knew he was going to say that.
But you should look at class. But you should look at class.
I agree.
Because it's more socioeconomic than anything. There's so many poor white Americans that are denied opportunities, just as the way black Americans are, because they don't have the income. They don't have the access to elite schools in order to spring from a private boarding school into Harvard. And you have to accept that, but the Supreme Court is not getting involved in it.
But going back, it starts before that. And I think that's why this is almost...
Starts in the home.
Yeah, but it starts in grade school. Judge Nancy Pelosi said this is why we need term limits, and this is from a person who won't leave Congress unless she's in a hearse.
Yeah, and who doesn't want Feinstein to leave either.
Yes.
You know, this decision will be the Dobbs decision of 2023. The Democrats are going to use this the way they used Dobbs in 2022. It's very simple. Affirmative action admission policies violate the Equal Protection Clause of the United States Constitution, the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment was drafted in the wake of the Civil War when Congress said no one should be denied the equal protection of the law. So if you follow the genesis of where this started, and then you go to Plessy, and then you go to Brown versus Board of Education and those famous Supreme Court cases, the court has consistently tried to make it a level playing field so that color does not add or take away from the ability to get a good education. And as Sandra...
See, that's all I'm concerned about. Do we have an equally and fair playing field? And I'm going to use the same analogy I used the other day, bro. I am not a fan. You can get mad at me if you want to. I'm not a fan of, like, in sports where everyone gets a trophy, because I feel like that doesn't make you work for something. It takes you getting cut from a football or basketball team for you to go back and work harder and figure out who you are and what you're made of to get further and achieve what it is that you want. If I just hand you something, you're not going to respect it and cherish it. You know what I mean? Long as you have the opportunity to go for it, an equally and fair playing field to go for it, then I'm good with it. And your results is what you make of it. Long as nobody's holding you back because of the color of your skin, long as nobody's not allowing you is not allowing you because of the colors. If long as that's not happening and you have the opportunity to do it just like everybody else, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. This whole everybody gets a trophy thing, I'm just not cool with that. I'm not. Not everybody's made to be a judge. Not everybody's made to be a doctor or a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? We need people who work on the roads. We need people who are truck drivers. We need people who, and that's not to say there's nothing wrong with any of those jobs. I was a truck driver. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying not everybody's gonna be at this one place. Where you start is not necessarily where you finish at. I feel wholeheartedly about that. You know what I'm saying? So this is interesting though, but the conversation and I could be, let's talk about it. You know what I mean? I was reading through you guys' is views and different points on it the other day, and I will continue because maybe I'm not seeing something clearly. So I'm always open to discussion.
Day O'Connor said, you know, she assumed at some point it was going to go away. When is it time for this to go away? It's time for this to go away when we live in a society now that is so focused on not just equal opportunity, but equal results. And I think that this decision
that's a problem.
Is in itself racist because it says that blacks need a hand up. It says
that was a great way that she put it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being focused on equal opportunity, where everybody has the opportunity to go for it, everybody wants equal results, and that's not possible. Everybody can't make the NBA. Everybody can't make the NFL. Everybody can't do that. You're given the opportunity. You can walk onto that field, but only the real ones is going to cut it. Only the ones who have that God-given ability and that talent is going to cut it. So the opportunity, as long as the opportunity is equal, cool. I'm cool.
Blacks, you know, you're not as bright, so we got to tick that color thing to get you in. What it also says in terms of today's world is that people like Randy Weingarten should really not be promoted the way the woman has been promoted, but her feet should be held to the fire for what is happening to kids in our schools because of the unions. Kids need to be geared and schooled in a way where they're at least able to read and write when they graduate, and that's not the case. Half of third graders in this country cannot read. They cannot read. So, you know, the focus at this point, given that this is the law, this is the way it's supposed to be, we've got to make sure that the elementary school, middle school, high schools really focus on making sure kids get a good education, parents have choice. And it's not just the wealthy parents who can afford to move to get to a better school, but all parents should be able to get their children in school where they can achieve the results that will get them into these colleges. And finally, my final point is, I don't want someone who got into law school or medical school because of the color of their skin. I don't want someone who's flying a plane because of the color of their skin. I want the best person to operate on me, the best person to represent me, and the best person to fly me wherever the hell I'm going. I'm done with affirmative action.
All right.
Now let's move to California, home of 1/3 of the country's homeless population. And it's so bad there, the Biden administration vowed to give the entire state federal funding to fix the problem. 5 cities are also part of that plan, with Los Angeles being one. But this week, Mayor Karen Bass says she wants even more money.
Federal, state, county, and city. Absolutely. I mean, my own wish is that we would treat it like it's a hurricane. That there would be a state of emergency that would be acknowledged on a national level that would allow us to bring in FEMA.
So Mayor Bass has been spending big on this issue since she took office last December. And the city's new budget allocates an unprecedented $1.3 billion on the problem. Bass's office says they've gotten more than 14,000 people off the street since January. Well, we've traveled to LA multiple times this year, and here's what we saw on our latest visit.
Yeah, come on, because he said y'all up.
So as you can see here, homelessness, poverty, and crime are prevalent as ever. One business owner we ran into. Earlier that day, his building had been set on fire by those in the homeless encampments outside. Cleanup crews were still there when we arrived. Watch.
This happened today.
7 a.m.
7 a.m. And you warned them this was going to happen.
I warned them past couple of days.
What did the leaders say? No one did anything?
City doesn't care. Doesn't care about us. The owner of the property burned something. They want us to be homeless. They put the homeless right there. They burn everything, and my life, my kids, my family is in danger.
When you called them, what do they say?
Oh, we're gonna send somebody to take care of it. Send what? After the fire done? After they burn the whole building? I have inventory in there. Who's gonna pay for my inventory? Insurance? What, 3 years after? I'm gonna lose the business.
That's something burned in my today. What happened? Somebody set a fire. I'm in my house asleep. And they came over here and said, man, you better get out of here, man. There's on fire.
Where's your house at?
I was right. No, I had a tent right here.
You had a tent right
here on the street.
And then they set it on fire.
Before pandemic, my insurance was $2,000 a year. Now it's $14,000 a year.
$14,000
a year.
So what do you do now?
Nothing. Nothing.
This is it.
This is it. I'm moving.
You're moving.
Yeah, I'm moving. I'm moving out. This doesn't make sense. Florida has opportunity. Vegas has opportunity. LA doesn't have anything. You know, this is the problem with LA. You know, and nobody care about property owners, business owners. We are the one paying the tax, and the homeless can be in the street.
This type of destruction is not rare either, according to Bradley Luster of Major Property.
Oh, this is crazy to have to deal with that, and to not only deal with that, you're a small business owner, you're of the community, and to see people have to have this in these homeless situations and these crises, man. But then the elections come around, and this one says they're doing this and they're doing that. At what point? We don't believe nothing. I know I'm starting to become cold. I'm starting to become cold. Where is the money truly going? That's the question.
Properties, a family-run real estate firm that has been operating in downtown LA for nearly 60 years.
Downtown LA is dealing with a record number of vacancy, 30%.
It's going to be a bloodbath. The market is going to collapse.
And part of the reason is a lot of these businesses can't operate in LA anymore.
This building was hit by a fire similar. This was a $6 million property with 5 different businesses that got burned out after the fire. They're gone.
Who burnt it?
Homeless. They were same as across the street, but that one was lucky they didn't lose their building. These people lost their building and all their income. This has been 2 years.
And nobody did nothing.
Now they've hired me to sell the building. We're really in a wild, wild west here in this city.
This is
and that's crazy. Nobody did anything about it.
This has been going on for years, as long as I'm downtown.
But when you have the mayor that's dedicating billions of dollars toward the problem, is it just a money issue? Billions.
It's a lack of political will to actually really tackle it. No leadership and lack of will by the private owners to force the leadership to do something.
What am I looking at right here? A fire was set?
You're looking at like a 5,000-foot warehouse that would rent for $15,000 a month. The business is put out of business, and because of the fire, they lost electricity, so all the businesses are put out of business. So all these different families lost their business, and this is just sitting until we sell it.
How was the fire set?
The homeless are sleeping here, and they start fires all the time. It's like there's multiple fires every night in the city of Los Angeles by the homeless. And sometimes they catch buildings on fire. So it's a constant battle.
This is dangerous.
It's beyond dangerous.
The city's spiraling homeless crisis is part of a...
Can you blame a business owner for being fed up? Are you serious? This like dude said, this is how I take care of my family. It's my livelihood. And you think I'm gonna continue when nobody cares? Nah.
Statewide epidemic. A recent study shows nearly 1/3 of the nation's homeless population lives in California.
So the people that are in power, I'm sure they're aware of all these buildings going up in flames.
1/3?
What have they said?
There's nothing said.
If you had one message for the leaders that are watching this right now, what would you tell them?
It's a jungle out here, and it's not safe for business people or people that live downtown to walk. There's knifings, there's shootings, there's assaults every day. Every day, multiple times a day. And as you see, there's fires every day.
It's a new normal. What's next for this city with all of this going on?
The trend that it's going in is a disaster. And Our family owns a significant portfolio here, and we're thinking of leaving.
You're thinking about leaving?
We're thinking of calling it quits. It's just not safe. Us standing here right now, we could be shot. Our family worked hard to build what we have, and I don't have to be here. And why should I be here? We're ready to give up. That's how bad it is.
Unbelievable. So we reached out to the mayor's office, Mayor Bass, and city council multiple times, but haven't heard back. We'd love to sit down with the Mayor Bass as well as the council to talk about any of their future plans for Los Angeles. I'm joined now by two people who've watched the fall of two more once great California cities. David Lee owns Taqueria in San Francisco, and Kate Monroe is a veteran and activist in San Diego. Thank y'all so much for joining the program. You know, David, we sat down, we talked, you were hopeful, but you told me, you said, look, if things don't change, I will leave. And I think you have an update for us.
Yeah, today is actually my last day. I closed my restaurant today for good. It was just time. Ever since we spoke, nothing's gotten better. It's gotten worse. There's been drive-by shootings down in Embarcadero. There's been shootings at the cable car turnaround. More break-ins. Nothing's better yet. So I just said it's time. Like, why even waste my mental energy to like put up with this anymore? So it's time to go.
Did anyone in the city try to like bring you back, hear your concerns, do something to keep your business there?
No, they make it harder. Like parklets, they made it almost impossible to keep the parklets, you know. And so I just don't want to pay attention anymore. There's no help.
David, we're watching the break-in at your restaurant right there, and I remember you telling me having to repair the building every time that happened.
It's hard enough being a business owner and trying to keep up with you know what I mean, being innovative, keeping your business afloat. You know what I mean? Keeping a positive cash flow, making sure you have something that the people want that keeps people coming through your doors, to not only have to deal with more things other than that. Break-ins, fires. You know what I'm saying? More like, wow.
Kate, I want to go to you. Is it any better in San Diego?
No, it's absolutely not any better here in San Diego, because all of the mayors of all of the cities have the same philosophy. You know, as you said previously, we spend a lot of money on the problem. We spend very little of it, though, on the solution. So here in San Diego, they just passed a vote, and they're going to try this sanction camping, the safe camping. But the reality is, it's been tried here in San Diego, and it failed because there's not enough stick and carrot. There's not enough teeth in the adjudication of what you were supposed to be doing when you are homeless, and there's not enough incentive for them to go there. They may go there temporarily. They're coming right back. You know, when I was in San Diego, it was very unsafe for us. A friend of mine, Kevin Dahlgren, got beat up after us being out of the car for 4 minutes. So no, it is not any better.
People are in fear of their lives, man. Who wants to stay where you're in fear of your life? No one.
Here in San Diego.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I agree. It's like that here, just as bad. And sometimes you see it getting cleaned up, and the next day they're right back. It's just as dirty as before. So I don't know what the solution is anymore on this.
You know, Kate, can you explain to our audience about the stick and carrot philosophy, which you're talking about? Because I don't think a lot of people realize that the people that you see on the street, they have been offered services, mental health services. They've been offered housing. They're given 3 meals a day. They give them the needles many times there. So can you explain what you mean by the stick and carrot to our audience?
Yeah, the stick and carrot, I mean, really all there is right now is a carrot. Here's some food, here's some drugs. We're going to let you live your lawless life on the street. There's just a bunch of carrots. It's basically do whatever you want to do. It's the Wild West. There is no stick, though, because we don't actually have the budget, the space in any of the jails, the police being allowed to actually do their jobs. And so there really is no stick. And without the two of them working in unison, you're not going to solve this problem.
On this 4th of July, I hope.
Man, yeah, feel bad for him, man. Not only that, you know what I mean? And for the true homeless. I'm always feeling bad for the true homeless, those that are truly out, you know, because you have veterans out there, not the ones who, because this is also a business. Some people use homelessness as a business. You know what I mean? They make money out there taking advantage of people. So you always have to think about the two. But for the true ones, that the veterans that just lost everything, have no other place, man, if we can just get them something, figure out some kind of way, maybe the stick and carrot method doing better. Maybe we need some fresh blood in office over there to try to do some new and innovative things to try to fix this problem, man. But they better do something before it's too late, because the business owners are packing up and leaving. People are not going to stand for it. Y'all get at me in the comment section, man. Let me know what you think. Don't forget, man, before you roll out, put unplugged in the comment section, man, and hit that like button. Stick around and stay tuned. Till next one, I'm gone. Peace.